Everything's weird to me. But we'll talk about it.
Yeah, definitely. Now we could.
Like people fucking recognizing me is weird to me. Fucking.
Oh, we definitely gotta talk about that.
Oh my God.
No one recognizes me, so.
But I'm very recognizable in the rooms that I'm in.
Well,
because I look like people say I look like Big Bird. It's the perfect description, and I hate it.
But is it kind of true?
It's 100% true. When I gain weight, I just get those birthing hips. Like, you know what I mean? Like my weight just goes to my middle, so I just look like Big Bird.
You know, it's funny when you did walk in here in the studio, right? You know, because me and you got shorts on because it's hot as hell in Boston today. It's like 90-something degrees. But then I looked at your top part of your body. I was like, cool, you know, it hasn't done really much. It's still the same. That's good. Like, you know, but you haven't gained any weight. You're still like the same size you were like 2 years ago.
I gained 50 pounds.
Fuck, my bad. I'll take that back.
I'm just happy you said that. That made my day. I looked in the mirror today like, shit.
Damn. Well, all right, so I'll explain the second thing. Because obviously that didn't really hit the way I wanted to. But I was going to say, like, oh man, this dude Sam, man, he's got some thick legs. He's got some thick quads. Like, you got your bottom half. If you were a chick, you'd be getting mad dick because you'd be thick. Like,
I don't know
pause.
how I'm supposed to take that. I don't pause from that. I don't like that you looked me up and down and like had like ideas for every part of me.
I know, right? As I was saying it, I'm like, yo.
Like, I'll look at a dude and I'll get like a whole overview of his image, but I'll never be like, damn, like his neck though, like those shoulders, his he has veins on his forearms. You know what that means? Yo,
that's crazy. Yeah. All right. So everything I said up until this point, we're gonna just delete. You know what I'm saying? Because now I'm gay now. So that's what we're doing. Actually, it's Pride Month. Very fitting.
That's what I do on my podcast. This turned into Bucked Up. I make guests gay.
You turn guys into.
No, I have the. Oh no, we'll start.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Nah. I didn't even freaking introduce you in, but it's all good. You know. Yo, thank you for coming on the podcast. You know what I'm saying? I got my man, who I've known for a while. When I say a while, I mean a while. Before you could even legally like what? Get into a club?
Yeah.
Right?
So I don't even know if you know why you had to watch over me the first time.
The way you said that was...
After the whole... I hope you do delete that first part, because that just made the dynamic
You're making my situation worse, bro.
Nah, but like my dad... I was 16 when we met, and you were working at Laugh Boston.
It still doesn't sound like... Okay, I'm so sorry.
And you were working at Laugh Boston.
Right.
And it was like an 18 plus or something, so my dad called the club and was like... Can my son go? He loves comedy.
Wow.
And then the manager was like, "Yeah, we got him."
That's dope.
And then you were the...
I was the guy that...
You were the security... I don't want to kill... Yeah, you were the security.
I was a security guy. I worked there. So, you know, when I first started comedy, you know, I said to myself, you know, what's the best way to learn about comedy? Because I don't know anything about the business of comedy or like how things worked. I just knew that I always loved comedy and I wanted to like get into comedy. So I said to myself, what's the best way to learn? Just work at a comedy club, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and I met you. You were like 16, right?
But that was me. I was like, what's the best way? I just go to this comedy club every weekend and just hope to make an impression.
You were too. You were there like a lot. I knew you were the shit because you actually you were coming to the black shows too.
Yeah. I remember I'd be like 17 years old sitting front row they had the show Chocolate Sundays, which you could never have a show named that in Massachusetts today. You know what I mean? Like that name is, I just feel like
it just doesn't connect. Like
especially for a club like Laugh, which isn't like
it does. Well, it's like
anyway. I'd be sitting front row like 17 years old, just like nerdy as shit, and everyone would say something about me every time. But I love that shit.
Love that
That's
shit,
where I met.
I think that was the first time I really want to say that I knew at that point, like, okay, this kid is like, he's consistent, you know, because for someone to like know about comedy at 16. Like stand-up comedy specifically, because I feel like it's a specific genre, art form, and because most 16-year-olds are doing like sports, or they're doing, traditional like other extracurricular activities.
Doing
like,
sports or girls.
doing sports or girls, basically at 16, basically. But I feel like if you're if you're going to comedy shows at like 16, you're either like kind of smart, and creative at the same time. I don't know what goes first, but
Or a weirdo.
or just a pure weirdo. So, but yeah, it's been that long, man. And you ever
8
since
years.
8 years, yeah. And since then, I've seen this whole kind of maturation process with you, which is like pretty dope to see.
Which is crazy because when you came on the podcast, my podcast,
right,
almost like 2 years ago, that was even like. No one knew. You know what I mean? I was just like an open micer at that point too.
Yeah. You were like, you were just doing a thing that you like to do, and you're just like passionate about. That's what I got. Like you said, hey, because you told me like, yo, I'm starting my podcast. I'm about to do this. I'm like, all right, yep. And you're actually one of the very few dudes that are like, one of the comedians that are like young in this game, like from the Boston scene, that actually is about your word. You know what I mean? Like you actually, what you say you're gonna do, you actually do it.
Yeah. Oh
So
yeah.
and I know I'm not like I get it. It's hard. People give up. And this is a hard game, but you still keep going.
I have this friend. His producer name is MeFucks, but he was the CTO of Capital One Bank.
Why is he not the president of the United States with that name?
He was the fourth in charge of the fourth biggest bank in the world. That's pretty close to president of the United States.
Oh, MeFucks is. Yeah.
He was the CTO of Capital One Bank, but he also owns a rap label. He's dope. But he gave me this like advice, which it was kind of what we were talking about outside, but I didn't want to ruin it. That's all. I wanted to save it for here. But it's like, there's people, like everyone has great ideas, but it's all about people who like execute on those ideas.
Damn.
Like, it's for real. Like, if you execute, it doesn't even matter if you have good ideas, but if you just execute on them, that's why you're saying, like, stick to my word. It's like, I might be not the best or whatever, but I'll execute on whatever.
Yeah. I saw something the other day on Instagram. You know how on those reels sometimes like things pop up and they're like reels back to back of like either short clips of people saying stuff or certain events. And I think that it was it Dame Dash that said this? I think it was Dame Dash that said this. He goes, consistency will outweigh motivation. So there's times that you won't be motivated to do things or execute things, but if you're just consistent at doing that thing that you like to do, that you love to do, just your motivation will ultimately catch up to like the consistency part, because we all are fickle as humans, right? Like sometimes we don't want to do shit. It's just, I get it, but if you just keep doing the thing, you just keep doing it, your motivation will come back, and then I was like, oh shit, that's kind of dope, like the way he said that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's like talent's the foot in the door, and then I don't know. I know a lot of podcasts that are better than mine, a lot, but I don't know any that are as consistent as mine. Doing 3 episodes a week, not missing a week. 2 episodes a week now, not missing a week for 2 years straight now, over 200 episodes. Like, I don't even. It doesn't matter how good you are at something, and if you can just outwork everybody doing it.
Yeah, for sure. I believe in like that as well, because I've seen people come and go.
It's like McDonald's isn't the best food, Drake isn't the best rapper, but those are the 2 most popular things because they are the hardest working. Like,
yeah, there's something that's.
I'm guessing Drake works harder than anybody because he just gets to that point, and McDonald's is fucking everywhere.
Right? Yeah, I gotta start changing some strategies of mine. Like, first of all, you know what I heard before I came on this podcast, before we started recording, which is crazy. I wanted to ask you this. Did you ever order food from Hooters?
I've never been to Hooters in my whole life. Okay. I'd be too anxious.
Like, well, but I feel like you'd be too anxious to see some titties.
Exactly. I can't have a boner and eat wings.
That is. Sometimes I feel, who was the marketing team, but like behind Hooters? Because that's exactly.
What I mean. Who wants to? I've never wanted to be erect and eat at the same time, other than eat food.
That's funny. Because it's usually one or the other. You have to either you kind of eat after you do the business. That's like the reward.
Yeah.
Right. I always eat after sex. I don't eat before sex.
Wait,
You
so
can't eat before sex.
No, you gotta take some bitches to dinner.
No. You're like, damn, Chase.
Yeah, he's fucking in the car before taking them to Wendy's.
I take girls on dates, and the women know that I do. What I'm saying is in this particular example, what I'm saying is like, I don't know, I heard that and I was like, that was pretty funny.
Yeah, no,
because I feel like Hooters is the only establishment where you actually have to like really go in person to get the Hooters experience. Like, how much of a person are you to order it from Hooters? Like, what are you hiding for you to like
also,
order it from Hooters?
So I've never been to Hooters, but my friends have like forced me to go to a couple strip clubs now, and that's what I don't understand. The person who goes to Hooters but wouldn't just get wings at a strip club. It's like, that's just the step up. It's just they're the same thing, but one goes there like.
Yeah, I know. Trust me. You know those people. You know who those people are, bro? Those people that do that stupid shit. You know who they are? They're the reason why ISIS took over Afghanistan. These are the people that fuck shit up for us. Like, they don't make sense, right? It's the same people who eat like wings with like ranch instead of blue cheese.
Thank you. It's blue cheese.
Come on, man.
Or die. I'll cut a motherfucker out of my life if they don't put blue cheese on their buffalo wings.
I get so crazy about that, bro. I do. When someone orders wings and then like ranch comes, I'm like, you're dead to me. Like,
I'll smack it off the table. I go, look in my eyes. You're a failure. Your parents will never love you. They failed raising you.
With the So with the podcast itself, right? It's the Bucked Up Podcast.
Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, right, I've obviously seen it and I've seen clips of it, and you're all over the place, right? The idea of the podcast now from what it was before, like, where did you go from that, and like, where is it now? Because, you know, basically what I see on Instagram, right, is you talking to like hella black people, and I like that shit. Like, I love that shit.
I don't want that to be what people think the podcast is about.
No, it's right. It's definitely not. But
before I wanted to talk to white people, and now no, that's not what it's.
But no, obviously it's like. But you interview a whole group of people, mm-hmm. from like musicians, rappers, comedians, artists. Yeah. So how's that shit been going?
Well, I've never changed my Instagram bio. It's always been a self-help podcast from a comedian who doesn't know what the buck he's doing.
Yeah.
And I think that's never changed. Like, before, all I could talk to were like comedians. But as you get bigger and your pool opens up, you start being able to talk to more people. And like, rap, I loved just as much as comedy, but I'm a comedian. I'm not a rapper. So like, right. That's why it just kind of worked that way. Like, the third rap guest I ever had on the podcast, I got to debut a DJ Muggs album that he was putting out.
Okay.
Which was just like crazy to me. Like, I was just like every other podcast in the area.
Yeah.
And then I had this accolade where I was like, and it doesn't even mean much to a lot of people, but to me, to be like, I got to debut a DJ Muggs album.
Yeah.
From Cypress Hill, like, that's DJ Muggs.
That's
like,
DJ Muggs, yeah.
It was something cool, and it just started growing from there. Like, the rap thing, like, I got my first accolade in that. Like,
yeah, I seen it, man. Yeah, it's just this podcast, Cut to Chase Podcast. I used to do a podcast before with a friend of mine, the Ready Set Blow podcast, and that was one of our main things. We just were consistent every week. We never missed an episode for 5 years.
Congrats,
each
man,
week. You know what I'm saying? And that shit, like, that shit's not easy to do. But he's an individual that's very like takes pride in like being consistent, and you know, and making sure at least in consistency for him. Mm-hmm. You know, and I'm like kind of like that, but you know, I kind of walk the lines of like, yeah, we can do this tomorrow too. You know, like. But it kind of taught me, if you're going to do something, be consistent with it. But we interviewed too. Like, we wanted to also interview just interesting people, you know, amongst like not just comedians, just like many different types of people. And this is what this podcast is about. You know, I don't care like how big a person is, like, or whatever the case may be. I'm happy that they are where they are. But the basis of this podcast is to like interview people who I feel that are interesting and that I feel like that are dope. And where the spectrum can be wherever it can be.
Yeah, that's
life is. I feel like because life's that way. So you got to take
100%. That's why I like putting out so many episodes, is because people only then see the like big guests, but the real people who listen to it see everyone else I interview. Right. It's like, I don't know. I've said this but I hate talking about Rogan on podcasts because it's like whatever. But it's like that's what he did. He just put out as many episodes as possible, no matter how you feel about him. But it's like hopefully some take off. Hopefully some, I mean, not, some won't, but like.
Yeah, it's just, this game is really interesting. It basically comes down to like, for me, it's like, what are you doing it really for? Right? There's a game for everything, right? Like if for me, I do podcasts because I enjoy it. And I don't get to talk to many people a lot. So if I can get to have them commit to like 1 hour just to chop it up and get everything as much as we can, I'm gonna take that opportunity, because there's times I don't see you for a while. Like I haven't seen shit. You're doing your thing, I'm doing my thing, and then boom. But we come back and we talk about Hooters and strip clubs, and you talking to rappers and all types of people. So
I've never had a good experience at a strip club.
I've always had great experiences at strip clubs. From 2005 to 2012 was my prime years. Strip club prime years.
You have it's like an era.
Yeah, of course. Oh yeah, it was
the strip club era.
Yes, of course. It's just like what
was your outfit in the strip club era?
What was the outfit?
Yeah.
I mean,
my friend told me I had to wear sweatpants.
Well, that's because I
know what it's because, but that's the stupidest shit I've ever heard.
Sweaties?
Yeah.
I mean, it depends. Sometimes you want to be comfortable. Sometimes you just want to be comfortable.
I guess.
Right?
I wore sweatpants on a date before.
Oh, I did that a few times. But I don't wear it has to be like nice sweatpants.
Like joggers.
Like joggers. You know what I'm saying? What do you wear? Like, I feel like you don't have Lululemon joggers or anything like that.
No, I got my joggers are all right.
I've been watching.
Don't judge my joggers.
I've been watching your gear on Instagram. I'm like, oh shit,
bro. Whenever my money's hurt and I look at my clothing collection, I'm like, I fucked up. I have so many hoodies.
Sam was like the first person I think I saw, or kid that I saw that had Yeezys on. Before he was 18, I'm like, where the fuck? How did you get Yeezys at 16 years old?
Before I saved up a lot of money when I was younger working, but before I smoked weed, it was all shoes. And then I started smoking weed, and I'm like, you got to make a choice on what you're going to dump your money into. Damn. And weed won out.
This was you. I knew. Damn. So, podcast is going good. Where do you see how's stand up? How's the stand-up game going?
Good. That's the thing is man, what do they say? You have to be 10 years in to be a good comic, or that's when you find your voice is 10 years in.
Yeah.
And it's
10,000 hours, 10 years, yeah.
And it's I've put in a lot of hours, but I'm only, the first time I did stand, you know how comedians are always when you start and when you actually start?
Yep.
I actually started serious 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Which is scary because that's not that many years into it. So I do well in stand up, especially for I got a Saturday night at the Stand.
Nice.
Where I got to do
New York City.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I got to do in the main room downstairs.
Nice. What time?
I got to do a 12-minute set.
Nice.
It was the midnight show, Aaliyah Janine show. It was dope as hell. Which is I used to drive to New York just to go see shows at the Stand.
Yeah.
So those accolades are crazy, but I also don't want to be the podcast guy that gets that because of my stand-up, because stand-up was always first, and stand-up is always first. So
for sure.
I respect the art of stand-up so much that I want to make a name for myself in stand-up and in podcasting, but almost not just be oh, he's just getting this shit because of his podcast.
There's one thing that will equalize all that. So you don't even have to even think about that. There's only one thing that's gonna equalize all those answers for you. And you know what that is? It's just if you're funny on stage, it doesn't matter how you came, because your bars, your material is gonna determine like if you're funny or not.
Yeah.
And how people receive that.
Yeah.
So you don't even have to like, in my opinion, you don't have to like worry about, oh, these people think like because I'm getting this, because I'm getting that. It's like, okay, even if that's the case, if that's the case, bro, at the end of the day, you still got to go up and spit some shit at that mic, and people have to think it's funny.
Yeah.
So you have to be. So if you're undeniable, there's nothing no one can say. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I feel you.
But that's what I say, the 3-year in thing is because, like, then someone will ask me how long in I'm doing, and I want to be like, just watch my stand-up. Just don't ask me how long I've been doing it, because that's going to make me feel, like, shitty about it,
that's just like a temperature check that comedians kind of ask. You know? It could come from, like, it could come from a really good place. Most of it does, but it could come from like some like spiteful, like hating shit. Like, oh, this kid's like 3-4 years in. He's, I say fuck him.
Yeah, and that's why I do. But I do just want to be like, I love stand up, and that's the first thing. So I do want to be undeniable. Do you need me to get that bottle for you?
Is it over by your leg?
It's literally right under your chair, Chase.
Oh, okay. Yep. Keep talking so I can pick up my.
I understand, but I do want to be undeniable. But like it's a long road to get to that. So like
and who just I say enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
Enjoy whatever
I do.
Yeah, enjoy the ride, man, cuz enjoy it. Set benchmarks and like just enjoy,
I've been enjoying watching like stand-up specials again. There was like a time where I wasn't enjoying watching it. And now I'm back.
Now you're back.
Yeah.
Like Terminator?
I'm fucking T2 Judgment Day, motherfucker. I'm back. No, but like, I think that's a real thing. I think I was, my writing, I wasn't writing as many jokes because I wasn't watching as much stand-up. Right. So then your mind isn't like working in joke form.
Right.
And I'm not saying do that all the time, but if I needed that kickstart,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess we all kind of like have to figure out a particular strategy that works for us. It takes time to figure that out.
Do you like sit down and write?
Have you heard my act, dude? You think I write?
I know, but you can do that too. I know you like fuck around.
Well, it's like I'm just terrible. I can't sit still.
Mm-hmm.
I have a problem sitting still, and like unless I'm writing like a story, I could, But if I'm like trying to come up with things and scenarios, I can't sit still. So I'm one of these comedians. I think I just write on stage. I'll just make like I'll have like certain points, and I just have to like talk it out in the forms of like punchlines. And
I'm the same way. I can't sit down and write. Like when I started, I forced myself to.
I guess you have to. I know.
But I'm so bad at that now. But also like I need to be better disciplined.
Yeah, it's all about discipline too.
It's like
you can't
losing weight and shit. It's like you have to just force yourself to do it until you get to that point where you're enjoying it.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna get there. It just some things just take time.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah. The sitting down and writing part, I guess when I started, I thought, oh, this is what comedy is. You write a monologue and then you say it on stage.
Right.
But then the more you do comedy, you realize it's a conversation with the audience, and everything you say is in reaction to how the audience reacted to what you last said.
Yeah.
So it's tough to write that for me. Is like writing reactions because I don't know how they're going to react. But that also could just be resistance keeping me from sitting down and writing jokes.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, listen, it's hard. It's hard. Everybody has their strengths. There's people have strengths and weaknesses in this shit. And I just firmly believe if you just cater to focus on your strengths and by the same time work on the stuff that the weak stuff will eventually become not weak anymore.
Yeah. I feel like I have to hate myself to grow.
Jesus Christ. That took a fucking left turn for the podcast. We
No,
were having
I'm
an uplifting fucking
I'm
thing.
serious, though.
Jesus. You said, what is going on?
No, if you're happy with what you're creating, then you're never going to want it to get better. So I feel like if you don't like what you're creating, it pushes you to be like, no, I need to get to that next step. Because like complacency, complacency is the friend of the devil or
Friend of the
something.
devil, sure.
Something like that.
Devil's Word.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's something. I know I'm mixing up all
Jeff said it
my.
way better with his
way
voice.
better.
His voice was
exactly.
mad
I
deep,
know. Nothing I say can ever be inspirational because of how I sound. You know, I could say some really deep shit, but because of how I sound, they're just like, this stoner idiot. Like, bro, this girl
Like,
the
if you
other
told
day.
me, if you were my, like, literally, if I was going to get a physical and you came in as, like, the pre-doctor, I'm like, where did you get this fucking guy from? I'm sorry. I'd be like,
Yeah, you'd get up and walk out.
I'd be like, first of all, how old are you? Number
You're like,
one.
this isn't a CVS Minute Clinic.
I'm like, did you get your medical degree at, like, you know, University of Phoenix online? Like, what's going on here? I'm sorry. There'll be so many, bro. You must get people like must put misunderstood you, stand you.
Misunderstand me.
Nice. I never wasn't good in grammar.
I wasn't never good at grammar. I want a T-shirt that says I wasn't never good at grammar.
You must get misunderstood a lot, right?
Oh, dude, all the time. And this actually is the perfect like sum up of how everyone missed. Like,
Okay, break it down.
this chick I was on a date with, or this was before we went on the date. I was explaining to her what I did, like my job with the podcast and
Sure.
stand up.
Sure.
And I'm like smoking weed, talking to her. And she's like a preppy. She works a good job. Like,
Okay.
and she goes, "Oh, you're actually smart. Like, I thought you were like dumb." Like I was like, damn. Like, she's like, "I just thought you were like a stoner, like not thinking." It's like, nah, I think heavy about all this shit.
Yeah,
Like,
we do.
but it's just how I look and how I sound
Yeah.
fucks it all up. It fucks it all up. Like,
Nah. Well, you know,
interviewing like the hardest rapper, like
who's one of the hardest rapper like No, let me actually. That's not a fair question. Let me ask you this question: which interview where did you ever feel like, all right, I'm walking into something that I'm not used to, and I have to make sure that I'm on my P's and Q's?
Oh my God.
You know what I mean?
I had to do a podcast with, he's a good friend of mine now, but this was the first time like we were like hanging out like this. We did it in the South Bronx project hallways. Like we literally set up the podcast equipment in the hallway, and this isn't like we had like people blocking off the stairways, like no crackheads or this is the South Bronx
Right.
project hallways. Like these are
This is where it goes
the
down.
place.
Yeah.
Crackheads are walking by trying to sell us stolen shit while we're doing the podcast.
I did ask for some earbuds. What's going on? Can you give me some
they still
earbuds
have
next
the
time?
tags on the shit, and then they see the camera and they freak out and run away.
I want earbuds. If you go back, I want some earbuds and I want cool water cologne.
Oh,
Specifically,
cologne's
I
way
want-
too expensive. Why is it so
I know
goddamn-
street cool water prices are different. Like,
That's just homeless piss and a nice bottle. They find the bottle in the rich people's trash, and they piss in it and they sell it for $20 on the street.
so South Bronx.
So South Bronx, I'm doing this, and we're drinking Henny, we're smoking weed. Like this is like, and Henny gets you fucked up. Like this is a story I say on stage now because it's so stupid. But Henny gets you fucked up. It really does. Like and I'm a comedian, and so I wasn't watching my P's and Q's anymore because like
Yeah, now you're loose.
now I'm loose. I don't really give a fuck where this is on camera. Like anyone can find this. And the dude goes, "I ain't no dick sucker," and I go, "But you do suck dick though, right?" And I had showed up alone to this podcast, and everybody that was with him got like, "Are we about to beat the fuck out of this dude on camera?"
Yeah.
And then the dude knew me, so
But
he's
he
like,
knew
"Oh,
you.
whoa!" Like he
yeah.
at first got a little bit like
But his
that's a
team
friend.
was like, "What's
well,
going
also
on?"
I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm a comedian. I'm sorry. I just like
you go
at
straight.
the end of the day, you realize that. But that was like, if I didn't, it wasn't good with. And that dude's like a good friend of mine. Shout out 1,000 Words. That's the episode.
1,000 Words.
1,000 Words. He's a photographer, amazing photographer. But
they're about to give you 1,000 ass whoopings.
You watch that clip. You watch that clip, and I almost got my like. If that dude was like, yeah, nah, you can't like I also was interviewing this dude TF, who's a Crip out of LA, like real Crip, like.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know that CK.
I like how Sam's explaining it to me.
I didn't,
like making sure. Like,
I didn't know that. You know what CK means?
I know.
Like Crip Killer.
I'm very familiar.
Crip,
I'm very familiar
like,
with the
I
community.
Didn't know that. I didn't know that. I didn't know that you were a Crip. I'm just kidding. The Crip podcast.
Sam's gonna get me killed after this podcast. Cut to the Chase Podcast will be brought to you.
Cut to the Crip podcast with Chase Abel.
Jesus Christ. You're gonna get me. I'm definitely gonna die after this podcast.
So anyway, I'm tripping on mushrooms interviewing this dude TF, and his producer gets up and adjusts his belt, and I go, "Whoa, man, don't Louis C.K. us." And this dude goes, "You know I'm a Crip, right? You can't say C.K. around us." Like joking, like trying to fuck with me, but I'm tripping on mushrooms.
Fuck.
And that was another one. I didn't watch my P's and Q's.
You're just go. It's so interesting. But you get to see how like some things, like some shit's it's real.
Oh, 100%.
Street politics is a real thing.
Oh, 100%.
The streets is like literally like right. This is what I've been. I always say, man, like you can say whatever you want to say, right? As a comedian or just even a person in general, right? Cool, free speech, it's all good. But there's some people that consequences is what they do, right?
Well,
that's like they're born to give consequences, and you just got to live with some consequences. You know?
I'm not gonna say his name because we're all good now, and it's not. But there was a rapper who didn't know who I was, just saw me popping up everywhere, and like started a rumor online that I was a federal agent that they were using to like infiltrate Griselda and shit.
Jesus
and then he's like, sometimes these podcasters need to get G-checked. So I was like, am I not allowed to go to New York? Like, am I going to get beat up in New York? And finally, we're all good. And he tweeted, like, no, Sam's not a federal agent, federal informant. But, like, that was like, damn, I might not be allowed to go to New York for a little bit.
Jesus. You're getting banned. You got to check it. Damn, Sam. Sam's, ever since you left me, man, you've been kind of fucking, like, going down this crazy lifestyle. You need to come back home, player. Come back to the comedy club when you were 16, where you were drinking Shirley Temples and your Yeezys, and things were safe. No, but listen though, like
I'm always safe. I'm always safe,
you
and
are.
the people like these are all funny stories.
Yeah,
like,
of course. Dog.
To me, they're like, I'm a comedian, so like they're funny stories, but everyone is just. That's the thing I love is, man, like the rap community embraces me more than even the comedy community does, and I still am a comedian. Like, I get so much love, and like, just the people that I've been able to meet are my idols that say they see me, like they see what I'm doing and they think I can get to the top. Like, that's the shit that's crazy to me. Like,
yeah, it's a good feeling, right? Well, it's a good feeling to do what you love to do, and you see. Like kind of you get rewards from it. You get to see it. Like it works when you stick with something, stay true to yourself. The people that's around you. I mean, it comes back just naturally.
Yeah,
it comes back to you. If you just, it does. It takes time, but you're doing it. So
money's tight. Like I won't even lie. Like money's tight. Like I don't do anything else. But the accolades and the little bit of money I do get, but like the accolades and the things that I don't even care about those, but they're the things that are like, oh no, you're on the right path.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. We've talked about these. We've had these conversations. I don't even know. I think we had these conversations when we were like 16, 17. I think.
Yeah, for real. It's like,
I was like, yo.
And I didn't even know what I was gonna do back then.
Yeah, because you
thought I was gonna direct movies. Like I thought I was gonna be doing that. Like,
but you were talking about it at least. Like you had.
But
the
I wanted to do
interest.
comedy.
Yeah.
And I wanted to have a podcast.
I can see you doing a lot of things, man. You're one of these individuals. Jeff, how much time we got? Where we at now?
35 minutes.
Oh, left. Oh, nice.
That weed slows down time.
Yeah, yo, I'm like, yo, it's crazy, right? I was like, yo, Jay, yo, we good? I felt like I was in the Bronx at that time. Yo, we good, Jeff? We good? We gotta get him out of here. What I was gonna say was that the shit, I forgot.
When I was 16.
Yeah, no, you're 16, the directing thing. Yeah, so you're one of these individuals. I feel like you have a versatility and a certain duality towards like, you know what I mean. You can do multiple things. You're creative, like, so, it's only right that you try these things. It's only all the things that you're interested in.
Yeah, like,
why not? Like, because you just are. You're just one of these individuals, and I'm kind of like one of these individuals too. Like, I like sports, man. I like hip hop, I like fashion. I like people. I like comedy. It's like, why just stick in one lane? If you like, it's just,
yeah, like, I feel
versatility
like
is good.
I was asked on a recent podcast. My guest asked me, "Can anybody like do it, whatever that it is?"
Anal. What are you talking about? I don't get it.
It, like, doing their dream, like,
oh shit.
I don't even
fault.
like the word dream. I like the word passion.
Pause.
I think passion is the better word than dream.
My bad.
But like, following your passion, and I didn't answer well, but I thought about it a lot, and I 100% do think so. I just think people have to get past the resistance and just start something, and it doesn't matter what it is, and the path will find you.
Sure.
Like,
Hell yeah.
I started this interview with comedians. You were episode, what, 11, I bet? Looking it up, you were probably episode 11. I had never even thought about interviewing rappers, but it just came, and it came natural. It doesn't, at least to me, nothing I did seemed forced.
Yeah,
it just came natural and worked out. So I think anybody, if you just start that thing and then just go with the flow, it can happen. Like, I'm not scared to DM the biggest person in the world. I'll send Drake a DM asking him to be on the podcast. He might never see it, but like, I wasn't scared for someone being like, fuck you. Never. That's only happened a few times. Like,
I've never been that way too, dog. I've never been that way. I've always had to fight through the door, bro. I've never been one of these individuals that was given the first shot. It's like I had to take the hinges off the doors and kick the door down. I had to show them, like, yo, I'm here. Yeah. In every single situation, sports, athletics, jobs, everything. Like, I always had to, like, I can't accept the easy way. I always choose to do the hard way because I learn more from going through it. You know what I'm saying? And like, being consistent and just jumping and not being afraid. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's like
you just can't be afraid. You gotta There's so many people now, bro. I be talking to them. It doesn't matter what age. I'm like, damn, like the lack of confidence in people now. It's just like, I could get it. The times are hard, but I'm like, damn, we got to get out of that. Like, you got to believe in yourself.
Yeah. And I think it's like, you got to eat a little shit, but you can't be a shit eater. Like, you just gotta push, you gotta do some shit you don't want to do. You gotta be uncomfortable. The gym sucks, but you're gonna look better going out. Like,
you've been seeing my stories.
Yeah, you have to be consistent with that. But like, you have to, shit, bro. Conway told one of my best friends that he didn't like me.
Okay.
Before he knew me. I'm on his album now. He was on my podcast. Like, I went on tour with them. Like, we're good now. Like, don't think, what do they say? J. Cole gave 5 CDs to Jay-Z or something, or Jay-Z was like, I don't want to listen to this fucking thing, and threw it on the ground and cracked it. Like, and then he signed to Rock Nation. It's like, you gotta eat a little shit. You gotta be uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta be in situations where fucking maybe people don't like you, but if you just be cool, they will, because I know what I look like. As you're like, I know why Khan wouldn't like me. I remember being blackout drunk and him going, "Nice to see you, Sam," and me going, nice meeting you. And he goes, "I remember who you are, but I was so drunk." Like, I had to cut that shit out. I couldn't be wild and like that anymore.
Hell no.
You have to come into situations again proper. Like,
yeah. So, self-awareness is very important, and self-awareness is very important when you're an artist. You know, it's a great equalizer to not like to kind of keep things at bay. You know what I'm saying? So, and you just kind of have to, like you said, it's a combination of just like learning, willing to get stepped on, you know, and just keep going, but still have like the capacity to not like to know yourself and try to be, you know, just be yourself.
That's the anxiety, I think. I think a lot of people have like, they get a little bit of hurt, like not physically hurt, but they get a little hurt, and then that creates anxiety where like, I never want to deal with that again.
Yeah.
But you're going to be sore after going to the gym the first day. You're going to have to be consistent after that. Like, that's what it's all about. Like,
yeah. I'm glad, man. I'm glad that everything is working out for you and it's going good. I'm like, yo, this dude's going to be, I was like, he'll be fine. Like, I've always like, yeah, this dude's going to be fine. And even though I know people don't know everything about you and what you go through to they don't know what the steps you have to do to get these interviews and these situations you're putting yourself in, and they only see the final product, right? Like they see. So it's always good to explain where your mental capacity is and how your thought process, because there's people out there listening, you know, whether it's one or there's 3,000. There's someone out there that's listening to us, and that's crazy to me. You know, that's crazy to me.
Fucking bro, it's like in most cities I'm in, I get recognized, which is like, it's like I know how it sounds when I say it, and I know how it comes across as like braggadocious, I guess. But to me, it's like I'm still that 16-year-old kid who was going to Laugh Boston and I'd go to Laugh Boston one night, then I'd go to the Paradise for a rap show the next, and that was every night I'd go by myself. I didn't go with any, like, I'm still a fan first. Like,
yeah, that's good.
That still freaks me. Like, that's so wild to me that people see me that way. Like, I'm that 16-year-old who's just a fan, you know?
Yeah, that's a different. There's a lot of levels to this thing, you know, and each level that you get to requires a little bit more strength. Each level you get to, it's going to require a little bit more of you, a more stronger you of you. You know what I'm saying?
This is just the first time I ever got recognized, I was at Middle East. Or the first time someone asked to take a picture with me.
You do look Jewish.
Everyone thinks I am. I can't tell that story legally. I was about to tell a wild story about what I just did in Detroit, but I can't. Like, I'll tell you after the podcast.
I want to hear a good Jewish story, to be honest.
Remind me about Jews in Detroit.
Yo, I don't mess with the Jays, bro. They heavy in the streets, low key. Yo,
we're not talking. Yo. Move on. Next subject. So I'm at the Middle East, and I'm tripping. I ate too many mushrooms. Another story where I ate too many mushrooms. And this dude asked to take a picture with me and starts, like, saying stuff about how he's a fan. And I'm tripping so hard that I'm like, I don't want to hear any of this. Like, this is too much.
You probably think this guy's, like, want to, like, have sex with you.
Well, I just don't want... I don't want to hear about myself right now. I don't want to listen to the music. And then I also don't want him to not be a fan anymore. Like, I still want him to like. I don't want him to think I'm rude.
You're
so
saucy right now.
I'm just tripping so hard that I just hug him. He's like just talking about my shit, and I just hug him, and I'm like, all right, let's get this picture in. And he takes the selfie and never posted it. I lost a fan. Like,
you went from friggin', you know, being spaced out on mushrooms to aggravated assault.
Yeah, literally, I'm just like, stop talking about me, but I love you. Like, I'm so thankful that you like the podcast. I just hug him.
That's okay. I'm surprised he didn't press charges on you. He went in with love and went out with a like.
Just hating the Bucked Up podcast.
Oh, man, you know the very first. This is when I knew you were like a real mofo. And I don't think I've ever told you this. I was like, because I was producing a show at Laugh Boston with Randy. And it was my Comics to Cure show, right? and we booked Darnell Rawlings every year for it. Okay, and Darnell Rawlings, shout out to Darnell, who always comes to Boston and did it back then. Been on the Chappelle Show, Ashley Larry, and you bought a ticket and supported the show. And you were like, I think like 16, 17 at the time. Mm-hmm. And you knew who Darnell Rawlings was from the Chappelle Show.
This was before he had his like resurgence.
It was before. It was
like
way
he
before.
has a resurgence now, but like this was like
yeah. And we specifically picked Darnell to like bring him to Boston, so to showcase him, to get him like on the course of like getting him booked out here because he's phenomenal.
And he murdered.
People don't understand. This is another thing about killing. I always have conversations with comedians because I hear these fucking idiots around town, that say, "Oh yeah, he killed. I killed." I was like, you guys have no idea what like the level of killing like is. Like I've been in rooms where this man has shooken the floor.
Yeah.
You understand? Like
I remember her
like
laughing so hard,
shaking the floor. Like people shaking the audience is it's like an earthquake. I've been in rooms where people have shooken like comedians who've made people laugh so much. There's like you don't know if like there's gonna be a typhoon coming in. Like it's crazy to me. Like Darnell, how funny he is.
At that Comic Secure show, I remember laughing so hard my face was actually hurting and I couldn't stop. Like when you're like, all right, I need to stop laughing, but you literally can't. Like there's very few comedians that have done that for me. And I love comedy, but like I saw Joey Diaz do that at the Comedy Store where I literally, my chest was hurting and I was like, please, I need to stop laughing. Yeah. Like it hurts. Like
it hurts.
Yeah, Brody Stevens, another one. Rest in peace. Yeah. I saw him murder once.
That's dope. Yeah, because me and you visited the Comedy Store, right? You did comedy at the Comedy Store. You did.
First time I ever did stand up, my mom paid for me to get a fake ID just so I could sneak into the Comedy Store. And I got on Kill Tony in the belly room.
Fam.
I was 18 years old.
Bro, stop for a second. Let me look into the camera when I say this, bro. When Sam said, my mom bought me a fake ID to go to the Comedy Store, dude, that's the most gangsterish shit I've ever heard that a parent's ever done for a kid. Bro, I've been doing comedy 10 years. My parents still doesn't even know I'm a comedian. They don't even want to know that I'm a comedian. They when people are like, "Oh, your son's doing comedy," they just don't deflect and be like, and they just go, "Oh yeah,
which son?
Which son? Danny's doing okay." I guess, like my brain stops when because I'm like,
they're like, "Oh, your son does comedy," and they just go. They just look around. Just, who are you talking about?
My dad was like, "Oh, you're a comedian. People laugh at you. You make people do family. They laugh at you. That's what you like. You like people laugh at you." Yo, it's way more worse than the African accent. Yeah. The most simplest things, but with an African accent, it sounds way more like you're just a shitty person.
I always hated when my parents yelled at me in their African accent.
Exactly. Actually, that was some nigga shit your mom did. She bought you a fake ID. That's only.
See, my mom had a coming to terms the other day because she was like, she likes what I do. She likes
talking to black dudes.
She didn't like it. She doesn't like.
She likes talking to black dudes.
She's proud of what I am doing, but she isn't, because if any friend Googles her son, it's me smoking weed with rappers.
Right.
Like, so I get it. But she was like, I bought you a fake ID to go to the Comedy Store, and she would take us to Lil Wayne concerts and buy front row tickets. And I'm like, yeah, this is exactly who I became. Like, my mom, you can't even get mad at that shit.
I love my mom, bro, but my mama is not cool, son. Like, she never did none of that. Like, she was just like, I got so jealous for I'm being real with you. Parents who had, like, people who I knew, like friends of mine who had parents like that, I fucking was so jealous of them because I'm like, oh, their parents are literally like, they're like in their kids' lives. You know what I'm saying? They're like, they're supporting whatever it is that their kids like, regardless of like how crazy it might be at the time. Dude, if I went to my mom and it was like, I never asked dude, if I asked my mom, yo, can you take me to a Wu-Tang concert? She'd fucking ship me back to Africa, bro. Like, she would be like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm not taking to that music. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, we didn't grow up in a free thinking household, so like it was so conservative. So it's like when I hear stories like, "Yo, my mom bought me a fake ID," I'm like, first of all, I was like, I want your mom to adopt me right now. Was she adopt
Chase Buck? Cut to the Buck podcast with Chase Buck.
No, but you know that's a dope thing she did for you to get you into that Comedy Store shit. I never performed at the Comedy Store, but I did my podcast at the Comedy Store.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we did it with Dean Del Rey.
Oh, that's dope.
So
he did another one of your.
He only did
Comics to Cure show.
He did one of my he did my other Comics to Cure shows. Yeah.
But see, it's like a breaking generational curses thing. Like, if you have kids, if you want kids, whatever, I think you'd be supportive of their dreams. So then someone will be talking to them and be like, oh my God, your dad's so cool for supporting your shit. Because it's like your parents, your grandparents definitely didn't support your parents' dreams. And it's like my grandparents didn't support my parents' dreams.
My parents,
so they broke the generational curse
for sure
and started supporting my dreams, which is, I know how lucky that is.
That's dope. Now I'm just letting you know that shit's dope.
It's beautiful,
That's
but then
dope.
it's cool that like, all right, you see that, so then you're gonna break the generational curse.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna be the one to do it. So you're the like.
Right.
It might take another generation down, but it's still happening.
It still happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's yeah. My parents and their grandparents didn't have time to dream. They had to eat.
Exactly.
Survive.
Yeah,
like,
and
know?
it's not a bad like.
You
I'm
know?
not saying that in a negative way because
Yeah.
especially circumstances are
It affects
big,
dreams. 100%.
are big.
Yeah.
But at some point, hopefully, they set up a good enough. They set up a good enough foundation that you can do this, and then you can be supportive.
Yeah. I feel like things happen for a reason, you know, and you come to whatever it is that you're supposed to come to, no matter what. Like, it's gonna happen. Whatever is like written for your life, it's already written, and you kind of just have to, like you said, for me, enjoy the journey, know exactly where you come from, be authentic, be cool people, and you eventually get to where you need to get to. I kind of keep things very simple, you know. I don't like to, like, people make things like so extra.
I overthink everything. That's
Really?
that's what I was talking about before when you were like, that's a big shift. When I was like, I have to hate myself to like grow. It's like I overthink everything, and I think, yes, it makes me grow faster, but I also think in the end it's going to be a lot harder for me to find peace because of my how I am, because of my mentality.
Yeah.
And that's not saying I'll never find peace, but it's just going to, like, if you don't overthink stuff, it's probably going to be easier for you to find peace with life.
Well, for you, it's actually, you probably won't get to that point because you're already actually just outlined and already foreseen that. People who usually don't ever get to pure serenity they're not self-aware enough to actually see that. So at least you're actually like you're actually talking about, you actually, you know, like, this is the ultimate goal you want to get to. So you're going to get there because you already are self-aware enough. That's where you want to get to. So you're kind of different from people who actually don't actually get to serenity. And there's going to be billions of people that don't. It's a rule of numbers. We have 10 probably billion people in the world. Not every person's going to like get to the pure happiness.
But they could.
They could if they're self-aware. You know what I mean? So
I think everyone can get to that place. It's like because it's like a really obese person, like a 500-pound person. It's like that person can still be thin. It's just gonna take a lot more effort than someone else.
It's gonna be a lot harder because I don't think that everyone can get there based on like what's happening with our like civilization currently now, with everything being pushed down and being distracting, you know, like with technology and like, you know, investing in things to like remove actual communication and direct experiences from people. You won't be able to actually kind of see that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, but I feel like, hey, start with yourself, right? Like, it's easier to change yourself than change another person. Right?
Yeah, isn't that what they say? If you want to change someone around you, change that in yourself first. Like,
yeah,
there's been so many people, maybe I want them to stop drinking or get healthy.
Me too.
And
yeah.
it's like, the more I tell them, the more they're going to go down into that path. So if I just change it myself, maybe they see that and get inspired. And maybe they don't.
And maybe
but
they don't, yeah.
But it's better than me being like, do this right now, because they're going to be like, whoa, 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 don't tell me what to do. I'm going to do what I want.
It's interesting. You're going to meet a lot. That's why I like stand-up comedy, podcasting, because you get to meet, and if you want to meet people, you get to experience people for a very short time. And if you really want to like get to see how they are, you just listen. You know, actively listening to people has been like my kryptonite.
Yeah.
Like just listening to people is like my kryptonite to like just drama. Because you know, when you actively listen, you can avoid things. You'd be like, nah, I remember this person said this last time. Now they're switching up. Gotta go this way. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. I like. I've had to become a good listener from the podcast.
Yeah.
But I also like you're saying, short bursts of people with stand-up. And you said this it's funny, you said this at the beginning about the podcast, but it's like, no matter how good of an interview, and I'm putting that in quotation marks, I feel like if you watch like an hour of someone talking, you figure out, and there are some psychopaths out there, but you figure out kind of who they are. And I really like that. Like, I can figure out who someone is just
by reading them.
Yeah, because I'm not good at, like, first impressions.
Me either.
I'm not good at being like, hey, a small talk. You know what I mean? I want to ask you what it is you do. Like, I've ruined so many dates by being like, what is your passion? And they're like, I don't know. And I'm like, no, you have to, if this date's going, we're going to finish this date, you need to tell me what your passion is. I'll force it on it, and they'll be like, no. And I'm fine. I'll ruin a date for that shit. I don't give a fuck.
And we'll leave it off with that. Sam Buck really wants everyone to reach a certain level of peace where he will throw himself out of getting some sex.
Oh, 100%. Are you kidding me?
You will put your fucking freedom on the... You'll put you not having sex for everyone to be at peace.
Yeah. If maybe a year later, she'll be fucking writing a poem, and she'll be like, that was such a horrible date, but I'm doing what I love. And that's all because of Sam Buck from the Bucked Up Podcast.
Yo, man, this has been dope.
Thanks for having me on.
This is dope. I don't know where we're at in time, but shit, I don't know if I can't beat that. Like we can't beat that. Where can people find you, man?
You can find me on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Bucked Up Podcast. You can put that into social media. If you like rappers like Benny the Butcher, Westside Gun, Conway the Machine, Danny Brown. If you like comedians like Chase or like Maddie Smith or Matthew Broussard or Sam Talent, anyone, check out the Bucked Up Podcast.
For sure. Man, keep doing your thing, man. I appreciate that. You guys can follow me at Chase Abel on Instagram, ChaseAbel. Also, www.chaseabel.com. Everything that you need to know is up there. Again, thank you, Sam, for coming on the podcast. And we're out. Peace.